customers, though, they like that, but you know, they like the fairing and they like some music. But they're not really ready for a full-on big bagger, and that's where the Street Glide comes in. And the Street Glide is a great function of touring, but it's really about style. And we've got some great new style this year, with starting in the front with a new 5-spoke, 19-inch enforcer wheel. It really changes the profile look of this bike. When you get it and you stand back, you'll see it really adds to that custom look. And then we've got this new batwing fairing. First change in 19 years. Now when I get to the Ultra, I'm going to talk about the outside fairing, but right now I want to talk about big news on the inner fairing. And maybe one of the first things you'll notice when you look at this new inner fairing is we've gone from 6 gauges down to 4. And what that enabled us to do is make these gauges larger, with larger numbers, for better readability. The 2 gauges we removed were the ambient air temperature and oil pressure. And you know, we had a lot of people tell us, hey, we don't even need that information, right? Why do you have air temperature on here? However, we know there are some customers who want that information. So what we've done on the hand control, we have now added a new I button for information. When you push that button, on the radio screen will appear air temperature, oil pressure, and it will note whether your engine idle temperature management strategy, the rear cylinder cutoff, is enabled or disabled. And that all pops up on the radio. Now this radio from the Street Glide is the Boombox 4.3. Last night you saw the Boombox 6.5 GT. This 4.3 radio has a 4.3-inch color screen. It has much larger buttons on the side. Matter of fact, 5 times larger than today, so easy to push them even with gloves on. And it's putting out 25 watts per channel of great sound. And all this radio function, with the exception of power and mute, can be operated through the hand controls. And actually, just 2 buttons on the hand controls. They're 2 5-way joysticks. And with just those 2 buttons, you can operate everything in the radio. And then the question, what about my tunes? Where do I put them? Well, in the fairing, we have what we're calling the jukebox. And it's a place to store your phone, your MP3 player. We got a USB port that charges while you're going. And you can operate the functions on those devices, again, through the hand controls. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the radio in just a moment. But there's one other feature I want to talk about while I'm sitting here. And that is, when we designed this new batwing fairing and we looked at cable routing, we saw an opportunity to clean up the look here and give our customers a good benefit. So now, all batwing bikes feature a hydraulic clutch. So it cleans up the bars and is a great feel for customers. Now I gotta tell you, we were out test riding one day, and I was riding the current Street Glide, and my supervisor, Jim Hoffman, was on this bike. And we came up to a stop. And I looked over at his bike, and I looked at mine, I looked at his, and I looked at mine, and all I could think was, I want that one. Because this inner fairing looks so good. And here's what you're gonna find. Our inner fairing today looks really good. But all of a sudden, when you see this one, it starts to make our current one look a little dated. It makes the competition look archaic. So this is a phenomenal new look for our customers. Great things on the Street Glide. And as we said last night, the Street Glide is the #1 seller in North America. Internationally, it's on a sales trajectory. It's in the top 5 now. And we had some opportunity when we talked to our North American Rushmore dealer team. And they said, you know, this bike is selling so well, why don't you do an up-level version? Kind of like we do with the Ultra and the Limited. And we thought that's a great idea. So we're introducing, exclusively for the North American market, the new Street Glide Special. So to tell you what makes this special, let me start with the things you don't see. The reflex link brakes with ABS are standard, security system standard, and we have added to the back the CVO-style premium rear suspension for an even better ride. And now what about the things you do see? In the front, we have a new color-matched fairing skirt, similar to what we've done in the past with CVO Street Glides. We added a small pinstripe, similar to what we have on today's Road Glide Custom. We have a unique air cleaner insert that matches a unique tank console. But the big news, the big look, the top thing sales managers say to do was paint that inner fairing. So we have a new gloss black inner fairing that houses that 6.5 GT rating. That looks phenomenal. So as you heard last night, the 6.5 GT, the G stands for GPS, the T stands for touchscreen. It also has all the voice recognition features. And we've got great tools to help you learn how to operate it. And you know, one of the driving forces for styling on Project Rushmore is they said less is more, and simplicity. And when you look at our inner fairing and our hand controls, you realize how simple it is. And let me just give a sense of that by comparing it to one of our competitors. To give you an example, you know, the Honda Accord has buttons and knobs down the lower right fairing, buttons and knobs down the lower left fairing. It's got buttons and knobs on the tank, big appendagers on the hand controls, and also buttons on the inner fairing. In all, the Honda Accord has over 50 buttons and knobs. Did I say Honda Accord? You know, I meant the Honda Goldwing. I get those two cars mixed up.
I figured it was a good stuff.
You know, the Street Glide now, the competition has been targeting it. They're coming out with bikes that they think are like this, but they're not. And I got news for the competition. The target just moved. More power, better handling, better braking, great styling, best in class infotainment. These are the Street Glides for 2014.